generation, so many young kids with us here this evening. So thank you for bringing them along. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Krista Tsele. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Senior Associate Dean for Medical Education here at the Larner College of Medicine, and also a practicing pediatric hospitalist at the UVM Medical Center. So it's great to be here with all of you. Thank you so much for joining us to celebrate our new cohort of Honor Society inductees. These individuals are being recognized for their qualities of excellence within our community, and we're really here to celebrate their remarkable achievements. So to begin our evening, Dr. Richard Page, the Dean of the Larner College of Medicine and also an Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Society member, would like to offer his words of congratulations.
Thank you so much, Dean Zala. Welcome, everyone. As Dean Zala mentioned, having members of the Larner College of Medicine class of 2050, it's really a pleasure to have them there. So we're getting started early. It's really special also to have those supporting our honorees, family members who have joined us this evening, some of whom I got to meet at the white coat ceremony, and we're going to get to see each other at match and graduation before long. So it just flies by. I'm so proud of every single student at the Larner College of Medicine. It's not easy. This is like, if you think of 124 students getting in out of over 8,000 applying, this is like going to the Olympics. Just everyone here is an Olympian. Maybe to torture the analogy, this is kind of like the medal ceremony, where we're acknowledging among these amazing students who have distinguished themselves in various ways as leaders, as humanists, as committed to health equity. And that's why this is really a favorite event for me, to just acknowledge that these are important groups and that we can be so proud of our students joining us in these societies, two of which were formed after I graduated from medical school, and really enhance the way we can award excellence among our medical students throughout the country. I also want to acknowledge those who are here on Zoom. You know, the COVID was a mess, but at least one thing we got out of it is we can do hybrid events better than we ever could before. This class, I guess, did not have to be alternating in person or not like the class before you, but we did learn how to have an event, and somewhere there's a camera. And hello, everyone who's joining us from outside. You've got a number of people who have been in your corner throughout your education. It's gone by fast, hasn't it? I won't ask for a show of hands of who feels ready to be a doctor and an intern in less than a year, but I can tell you every one of you will be, based on the education that we aspire, as Dr. Larner said, to provide an education that's second to none. And it's clear that this is a group that's going to be successful, so we can all be proud of that. Tonight, we are making note of 3 different honor societies. The AOA Honor Society goes back to its founding in 1902, and the Larner chapter of AOA was established in 1953. Today, we're one of 135 chapters nationwide at medical schools recognizing educational achievement and encouraging the development of leaders in academia and their communities. The Gold Humanism Honor Society was founded in 2002 and has been fostered by the same foundation that was key to establishing the white coat ceremony that we all shared together just about 3 years ago. Keeping humanism front and center in medicine is the mission of the Gold Foundation, and it fits seamlessly with our own college's statement on professionalism, where we emphasize that we rely on cultural humility, kindness, and respect in all of our daily interactions. As inductees to this honor society, you're being honored by by the fact that you basically live those words in how you deal with patients and those around you. And finally, the Aequitas Health Medical Honor Society was formed just in 2021 to recognize medical students dedicated to the cause of health equity and eradicating health disparities in all shapes and fashion. These are noble goals that also perfectly align with our fundamental missions and our statement on professionalism. So congratulations to all of tonight's inductees and those who are here supporting them. Medical school is challenging, but you've clearly established yourself as being bright lights among, as I said, a great Olympian-filled class of 2025. We're tremendously proud of you. I want to wish you good luck over these next few busy and exciting months. We have much to look forward to together. I'm now going to pass things over to Dean Zale. I look forward to congratulating each of our honorees as we go through this. Please join me in welcoming back Dean Krista Zale.
Thank you, Dean Page. So it is now my honor to introduce our keynote speaker for today's event, Dr. Rebecca Bell. Dr. Bell is a caring and compassionate pediatric colleague of mine and an inspirational leader in child advocacy. She joined the University of Vermont Medical Center as an assistant professor in 2014 after completing her undergraduate and undergraduate medical education at the University of Massachusetts, then her pediatric residency and pediatric critical care fellowship at Massachusetts General Hospital, and a master's degree in public health from the Harvard School of Public Health. Quite accomplished, I'm sure you all agree. She is skilled at what many people fear: caring for critically ill children and publicly supporting a particular cause or policy. She was promoted to associate professor in 2020, and in addition to her clinical responsibilities as a pediatric intensive care unit attending, serves as the pediatric medical director of the UVM Health Net Transport team. She is also recognized for her efforts and leadership in child health advocacy at the state and national level. Dr. Bell served as past president of the Vermont chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics from 2019 to 2023. And I think if you recognize those dates, you can realize she had to lead during a very challenging time, and currently serves as the president of the Vermont Medical Society and project director of injury prevention at the Vermont Child Health Improvement Program. She has received numerous awards for her clinical, education, and advocacy work, including the J. Ward Stackpole Recognition Award from the Vermont State School Nurses Association in 2022, the Outstanding Service in Advocacy by the American Academy of Pediatrics in 2019, Green Mountain Pediatrician of the Year by the Vermont chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics in 2018, and Pediatric Subspecialist Teacher of the Year by the Pediatric Residency Program in 2016. She also currently serves on the American Academy of Pediatrics National Nominating Committee and is a critical care section editor for the New England Journal of Medicine Knowledge Plus Pediatric Board Review. So as you can see, Dr. Bell is an accomplished clinician and an impactful advocate in community and legislative advocacy efforts. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Rebecca Bell.
Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here. So I just want to start by congratulating all of you here today. I think probably when most faculty who are speaking at this event start out, they might say something like, I remember when I was in your shoes, I remember when I was sitting there in those seats, but I'm not going to do that because I actually have never been inducted into an honor society before, so I cannot relate to how you are feeling, but I can imagine how you're feeling. And you should be feeling so proud of your accomplishments. As Dean Page said, the AOA Gold Humanism Aequitas Societies it's an incredible honor to be recognized above and beyond your already extremely outstanding peers. And I hope you're taking it all in. I hope your family and friends and your people and your support group are all taking it in too. So last month, I got an email from the hospital, and it said, "Congratulations on your 10-year work anniversary." And then I got to pick out a free toaster. And it was perfect timing because the toaster that I have now, and this is true, is the toaster that I got for my 5-year work anniversary. And it's like doing that thing where it's like smoking a lot, but also kind of not really toasting. And so I really need a new toaster. But it was also a good time to reflect on my last 10 years here. So you're so used to in your training, you're in different schools, and then you're in residency and maybe fellowship, and you're moving on. And then at some point you become an attending. And if you find a place that you like, and you stay there, and then other people are sort of moving through. So it was a good time for me to reflect, and in particular, reflect on my advocacy journey, because that's something that I'm really proud of and I've worked really hard at, but really didn't start until I came here to Vermont. And I was a few months into my role as an attending here, and I had gone into work, and I admitted a patient to the pediatric ICU. I was driving home. It was New Year's Eve, and a bus went by me. It's a Chittenden County bus, and it had an anti-vaccine ad on it. And I was so annoyed. And I went back home and I emailed my chair, Lewis first. And I said, "Lewis, there's a bus with an anti-vaccine ad on it. Like, someone should do something about this." And he was like, "Well, we can't do anything about the ad, but you could write a blog for the hospital about the importance of vaccines." And I was like, "Someone should definitely do that." And he was like, "No, no, I mean, you should." And I was like, "Well, someone should, not me. I just finished my fellowship. Like, I don't know. I'm not like an immunologist. I'm not an infectious disease doctor. Like, I'm not the expert here." And what I hope to get across, and what Lewis really showed me, was that we're so used to someone always having more experience than us in medicine. Even when we get out, even when we're practicing, somebody else is the expert in this. And really what he wanted to make clear was that I had my own experiences, I had my own voice, and it was important for me to speak up. And then I thought about it, and I said, yeah, like I actually I've seen a lot, I've witnessed a lot. I work in the pediatric ICU. I've seen horrible stuff. I've seen the human spirit broken. I've also seen amazing resilience, incredible strength. And this is something that all of us, no matter where we are in our training, we actually have borne witness in a way that the average person just hasn't. So no matter where you are in your training, you have an opportunity to advocate for your patients. And so I wrote this blog post. It led to a press conference, and then legislative testimony and TV interviews and radio interviews, which I'll get back to in a second. But as I built my skills, I was able to really more effectively address the issues that I cared about. And I thought a lot about this pediatrician, Paul Wise, who's out at Stanford, and he says, "Pediatricians are the ultimate witnesses to failed social policy." And I think that really is an extension to all physicians. Like, we are witnesses and we bear witness, and it's important for us to see it, to recognize it, and to report it. And it's even more powerful. This work is even more powerful when we do it collectively. So for me, that means working with the American Academy of Pediatrics, both the Vermont chapter, the Vermont Medical Society. I've had the honor to lead both, and I'm really proud of what our organizations have done for patients and communities in Vermont. And so a few years ago, at a Vermont Medical Society meeting, I was moderating a panel on finding joy in medicine. And I was going through some stuff. I was trying to think of something, how to start off the panel, and I came across this piece published in the New England Journal of Medicine. It's about physicians and their interactions with medical students. And the title of the piece is called "It is Still a Privilege to Be a Doctor." And I read some passages at the time as part of the panel. And the author of the piece is a medical school dean. And she talks in this piece about how medical students were going out on their clinical rotations. They're really excited. And then they were coming back and they were saying, a lot of the doctors we're working with are like complaining a lot. And they're like, medicine is no fun anymore. And there are all sorts of problems. Research dollars are shrinking. Medicaid and Medicare payments are getting cut, and there's endless administrative work. And like, this just isn't a great profession anymore. And this to me, sounds really familiar as president of the Medical Society. These are topics that are talked about all the time. This seems like very relevant, right? Like it could have been published last week. But this is a piece from 1986. So before many people in the room were born, right? 1986, the same stuff. And what she says in this is that it is still such a privilege to be a doctor. Yes, there are problems and we should address them, but there's just so much so much like to look forward to in medicine. So this piece was written by Dr. Carola Eisenberg, who's a psychiatrist and the first woman dean of students at MIT, first at MIT, and then she moved on to Harvard Medical School. When she wrote this piece, she was a dean of students at Harvard Medical School. And she just talks about perspective in that piece. It's a really, really powerful piece. And so after I read that, I was like, what else has she written? I'm sort of interested in her. So I looked her up, and she's written a lot about how to change the culture of medicine, both at the medical school level and the faculty level, including this piece I found in the New England Journal of Medicine, a spicy little number called Medicine is No Longer a Man's Profession, or When the Man's Club Goes Co-ed, It's Time to Change the Regs. This is what was published in New England Journal, 1989. I'll read you the first paragraph. It's so good. The influx of women into medicine during the past 2 decades has rescued the profession from a serious threat to its quality. Given what women have done for medicine, the time is overdue for the changes medicine must make to accommodate its new demographic. And what she really talks about there, and she has a very prescriptive way that she thinks medical schools and institutions need to be more inclusive. And she talks about how it's not just about admitting a more diverse population, it's allowing them to thrive once they're there. So she talks about not only opening the front doors, but also opening the corridors of power to allow people to thrive. And she says that benefits everyone. Every single person who works in that institution will be benefited. Our patients will benefit. And she says, if medicine is to become more humane, admitting more women into the profession will not be enough. The task will be to cultivate the humane qualities in all health professionals by making career paths and the reward structure that reinforces them consonant with that goal. And I wanted to read excerpts of her work tonight because I believe you all represent much of what she writes about. So leadership, inclusivity, humanism in medicine. And in your careers, you can further these values in both big ways and small ways at all levels. And as I was thinking back to what are some of the small ways people have done that for me, I remember back to that. So that vaccine story, had to go on the radio, and afterwards got this very encouraging note from someone that was super uplifting. So it was my first time on Vermont Public Radio. Do not have the first time you do this be a live call-in show about vaccines. Don't do that. I was so nervous. I made all these flashcards. I was studying ahead, like I was studying for the boards. And I did okay. I did fine. It wasn't great. And I was driving home thinking there should have been an expert who did that, not me. And then I got home and I got this email, and this is in February 2015, and the subject just said fan note. And I'll read you the email. It's a brief email. It says, Rebecca, just a brief note to tell you what a nice job I thought you did today on Vermont Edition on VPR. As the founding director of the PICU at Fletcher Allen, which is what UVM used to be called, I take particular delight in knowing its staff are having such a wide-reaching influence on the health of Vermont's kids and using facts and science to do it, while being respectful of the callers who did not. Thanks for speaking up and doing it so well, Alan. And the email address was an NIH email address. And the sign off was Alan Guttmacher, MD, Director of the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development from the NIH. What? What? Why is someone from the NIH emailing me? And by the way, this is a pro move. He not only sent me this email, he CC'd my chair, which is such a pro move. That is allyship, right? So we should all be thinking like Alan, we should all be writing emails to people saying they do a good job and then CC their boss. That's how you do it. So it was just such a nice thing to get. I couldn't believe it. And as I was preparing to speak to you all today, I thought about that and I was wondering what prompted him to do that. And so I called him up last week. And I know him now because he's now retired from the NIH. He lives in Vermont, and we've worked together in the ensuing years on a childcare campaign through Let's Grow Kids, in which, by the way, Vermont was able to pass the first in the nation most comprehensive childcare reform, which is pretty cool. So I called him up and I said, do you remember that email you sent me? Like, you didn't know me, like, what made you do that? And he said that he was inspired by his stepfather, who's a physician, who used to read articles and then type out letters and send it to the authors saying what a great job they did. And Dr. Guttmacher told me on the phone, he said, medicine is a privilege. We are part of this continuum. The job is an apprenticeship system. And then he also told me that he was very inspired by his mother, who was also a physician. She had passed away 3 years ago at the age of 103. And he said she held a sincere and genuine interest in every person who crossed her path. And his mom is Dr. Carola Eisenberg. And I said, I'm kind of obsessed with her. Tell me more. So we talked about her. We had this lovely, lovely talk. And by the way, Dr. Guttmacher, in his own right, super fascinating clinician scientist. I will say we talked on Friday night. He was leaving town on Saturday to catch a ball game with Francis Collins, as one does. And he told me that his mother's like the most proud work. She's known for her work, at Harvard Medical School as a dean, but she was most proud of what happened outside of academic walls. And so there's much talk about her breaking gender barriers, but there were other barriers there for her as well, including the fact that she was not, English was not her first language. She was a Spanish speaker. She was actually born in Argentina. And the story of her actually going to medical school and graduating from medical school is like quite compelling, which we don't have time for. But she managed to get her medical degree in Argentina. She came to the US and practiced psychiatry in the US, but she never ever forgot her, what she called her privilege and her responsibility. She's now a Spanish-speaking psychiatrist from a huge institution. And she had this experience in Argentina where her, extended family were victims of political violence. And she recognized the position and the power and the privilege that she had in her role. And so in addition to being the dean, she would go to Central and South America. And she would go to places that were suffering from political violence, and she would document it and report it. And it made a big impact. So she found herself with her 5 colleagues and friends in this rented room in Somerville, Mass. And they were sitting around thinking, like, this is important work. This is really important work. It's making a difference. Like, what do we do about it? And so, like, what do you do when you find a problem that you want to address, right? You start a SIG, or you start a student interest group, but they were not students anymore, they're faculty. So what do you do when you're not a student anymore? You start a nonprofit. And so they together started a nonprofit, and that nonprofit is Physicians for Human Rights. And so PHR, if you know, melds science and medicine to document and advocate against human rights abuses and mass atrocities. And that was the work that she was most proud of. And Alan told me that she started within PHR, she started the asylum subcommittee, and she led that. She was a chair of that into her 90s. And she was also the started the first human rights course in a medical school that she taught at well into her 90s as well. So I told Alan that I would be speaking of his mother tonight and just wanted to get his thoughts about what she would think about all of you and the work that you do and this recognition. And he said she would be so proud. She was a humanist. She would be thrilled to know that the honor societies you're all being inducted to value humanism and they value equity in medicine. Those are both really important to her. And she believed there was magic in being a physician. It was among the most noble and wonderful things you could do with your life. She believed this to her core. You got to do interesting things and you got to help other human beings. There's almost nothing else in life where you can participate in the most intimate parts of other people's lives and get invited in. And so I'll just end with a quote from that piece. It is still a privilege to be a doctor, where she says, "Let us enlist our students in the campaign for equity and quality in medical care. If that campaign is to succeed, it will need the efforts of the best and the brightest." And that is all you. So we are so, so proud of you. We are so happy that you are joining us in this profession, and we are looking forward to see what you'll do. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bell, for your inspiring words and for being here with us tonight. It was also wonderful to hear stories about Dr. Gutmacher, who used to teach in our medical school curriculum, and kind of bringing him to join us this evening. So next off, I'd like to welcome Dr. Anisha Ramal, who is our faculty advisor for the Aequitas Honor Society, to say a few words with us virtually.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm so sorry that I can't be there in person today. Not feeling my best, but I just very briefly wanted to say what a privilege it's been to get to know this class, to get to know the incredible inductees, our Aequitas fellows, and be profoundly moved by all the work that they've done for our communities here. And I'm thrilled that Dr. Katie Wells will be taking over as the Aequitas Health Chapter Advisor as I'm departing from Vermont later this fall. And my time here, as I mentioned, has been so deeply positively impacted by getting to work with these incredible students. So just really wanted to express that gratitude, and I'm really privileged to be joining you all tonight. Thank you.
Great. And now please welcome Dr. Katie Wells to assist with the formal induction of our second Lerner College of Medicine cohort of Aequitas Health Honor Society.
Yes. Thank you, Dean Zila. And also thank you to Dr. Anisha Ramal. For those of you who don't know her, she is just an incredible clinician who truly centers health equity in every thing that she does. And so she will be a huge loss to us and our institution, but I'm really happy to Hennepin, who is getting her, but she is not gone forever. We hope to continue to collaborate with her. And again, she has just done such an incredible job over the last 2 years in helping to get this honor society up and running. And so we're so appreciative to Dr. Amal of her work. So with that, I would love to start our induction tonight. And our first virtual inductee is Karina Wen.
Thank you. This is such an honor, and congratulations to all fellow inductees.
And our next virtual inductee is Kai Ravichandran.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is an amazing honor. I'm glad to see everyone out here. And a big thank you to Dr. Amal and Dr. Wells for all their work.
Thank you, Kai. And our last virtual inductee is Gabby Serrera Valentin.
Hi, I don't have anything because I'm in Washington, but I can do that for purposes of the presentation. Thank you to everyone. Hi to Liz, my sweet little partner who's in person, and congratulations to everyone.
Thank you, Gabby. And now for our in-person inductees. Students, after coming forward to receive your certificate and cords, please remain in the front of the room, filling in the chairs to your right or left, so that we may take a group photo once you have all been called. Dean Page and Dean Zala will also join us up front. And so to start, we will bring up Jasmine Bezanet Phillips. Great. Hunter Myers. Vanilla Pandara Buina. Nikki Parsa. Javier Rincon. Sarah Susan. I would also like to recognize Adugo Chikeze, who was unable to be here this evening. And then just also wanted to say what a pleasure it's been to get to work alongside these students and what we're going to be able to accomplish over this next year. Their stories, their applications would just blow you all away if you don't already know how amazing they are amongst many really talented submissions for this honor society. This group of students is really committed to social medicine, really committed to health equity, and really improving the lives and the healthcare of our patients. And so I just want to say a great thank you to all of them.
What a fantastic group of students. This is so exciting. Right. So thank you, Dr. Ramal. Thank you, Dr. Wells, and congratulations to the Aequitas Health inductees. Good evening, everyone. My name is Marie Sandoval, and I'm the Alpha Omega Alpha counselor and associate professor in the Department of Medicine at the Larner College of Medicine. I'm also the medical director of digital health for the UVM Health Network and have been practicing general internal medicine for more than 25 years, which has been wonderful. My practice in scholarship emphasizes the importance of human connection, optimization of our use of technology, including the importance of digital inclusion as a means of promoting health equity. I'm going to give a little history, but I think Dean Page already gave this. The Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Society was actually established in 1902, as Dean Page stated. It was actually to advance the expectations of training from a former trade level education. And as he stated, it's grown to over 135 national chapters over 120 years. Election to AOA is an honor that signifies a lasting commitment to the key tenets of AOA Medical Society: professionalism, scholarship, leadership, and service. AO is dedicated to the belief that in the profession of medicine, we will improve healthcare for all by recognizing high educational achievement, honoring gifted teaching, encouraging the development of leaders in academia and the community, supporting the ideas and idealisms of humanism, and promoting service to others. It's actually a lifelong honor, and membership in the society confers recognition for a physician's dedication to the profession and the art of healing. AOA also has numerous service and program opportunities for our medical community. The Larner College of Medicine AOA students being inducted this evening were selected through a detailed process based on the initial academic achievement of being in the top 30% of the class. And application submissions and selections then chose the top 20% of our Larner AOA selection committee. The top 30% of the class is determined via indicators of clerkship distinction, which involves scores compiled from their clinical level clerkship evaluations and direct nominations from clerkship directors based on the AOA tenets and values. It is my great honor to present to you our Larner College of Medicine students selected for this evening's induction in the Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Society. These students were selected for induction into the national chapter, ranking in the top 20% of their class and represent all the tenets of the national AOA. We are first going to call our 7 inductees who are joining us virtually, followed by those who are here in person. Those who are on Zoom will receive their receive their induction certificates and cords to be worn with the regalia at graduation. And those in person will come to the front of the room to receive their cords and certificates. So let's get started. Our first virtual inductee this evening is Anupama Balasubramanian. Woo!
Thank you so much.
Next, we have Shay Bolino.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, and thank you to everyone on Zoom and in person for showing your support.
Next, Jarna Giovanni.
Thank you so much. Sorry I don't have my cords and sorry I can't be there in person, but congratulations to every other inductee today.
Next, Kenny Nguyen.
Happened to check the mail 45 minutes ago and these arrived. Congratulations to all my classmates, and sorry I can't be there in person.
Next, Ashwini Sarathi.
Everyone, thank you so much. Also don't have my cords, but congrats to everyone. Happy for everyone.
And next again, Gabi Sarrier Valentin.
Thank you. Congrats to everyone. They handed me a Foley to put around my neck, and I'm not going to do that, but I could. And hi again, Liz.
I think that's going to be the most memorable we've had. And our last, our last virtual inductee, Jennifer Toner.
Thank you so much, and congrats to everybody. I also don't have my cords, but here are my virtual ones. Thank you.
All right. And now we're going to call our in-person inductees. Please come forward when we call your name and remain in the front of the room after you receive your certificate and cords. Please stand behind and fill in the chairs to your left or right, as we stated before, so that you may take a group photo once we've all been called. Dean Page and Dean Zale are already up here, so I don't have to ask them to join us. Are we ready? Audrey Baroni. Woo! Ty Bever. Jamie Sear. Justin Henninson. Liz Kelly. Ryan Kelly. Kelly Knight. Katie Nguyen. Elizabeth O'Neill. Brittany Palermo. Madeline Powell. Anthony Quach. Paige Song. Tyler Van Dyke. And Hannah White. I'd also like to recognize Jacob Capello and Caitlin Giroux, who were unable to attend here this evening. We also have 4 faculty members who are being inducted this evening. These individuals were also selected by our graduating class of 2024 for embracing the tenets of AOA in their teaching and healthcare delivery. These are Dr. Katie Dolbeck, Dr. Justin DeAngelis, Dr. Andrew Hale, and Dr. Patrick Zimmerman, who I'm thrilled to say is located at our Connecticut Nuance campus and was also being inducted, but all of these were not able to attend tonight. We also have 6 AOA resident inductees who were selected for their excellence by our members of our Larner class of 2024. And I'll just read through them. Dr. Robin Alsher, Dr. Akshi Batra, Dr. Gnedi Ingding, Dr. Christine McLaughlin, Dr. Shandi Moranta, who is also located at our Connecticut Nuance campus, and Dr. Serena Searles, who are also being inducted, but they were all unable to be here tonight. And as you can see, I'm so thrilled that we've been able to induct some of our Connecticut campus faculty and residence fellows. Congratulations to all of our students, faculty, and resident inductees. We'll take a quick group photo before you return to your seats. Now I would like to invite Dr. Andrea Green, Professor of Pediatrics and the Gold Humanism Honor Society Faculty Advisor, to formally honor our Gold Humanism Honor Society inductees. Thank you.
So we've made it almost to the end. Here we are. Congratulations to everybody for all their inductions. This has been a really wonderful evening, and thank you especially to Becca for that amazing and very moving talk about our profession, because it really holds true. And I think every time I get to do this or be with any of you, I just feel so hopeful and almost choke up and tear about the fact that I feel so excited that you are all going to be going into this profession. So thank you. Thank you for making this your life's work. So as Dr. Sandoval said, I'm Dr. Andrea Green. I'm a professor of pediatrics. I'm also the director of the Pediatric New American Program in Pediatric Global Health. And so I've got to practice with some of you in that way. My scholarship is all in the care of children in immigrant families. And fun fact that people often don't know, Vermont is per capita number 6 in refugee resettlement in the country. So just like to share that so people recognize how much we do of that work here in our community. So we are going to talk about the Gold Humanism Honor Society, and you heard a little bit about that, but you didn't hear about who Dr. Gold is. Dr. Arnold Gold is a pediatric neurologist who believed that it was important to have empathetic bedside manner. And that led him and his wife to create the Gold Foundation actually in 1988. And that was really to inspire doctors to remember not just the science of medicine, but also the importance of compassion and humanism in medicine. And so the Gold Foundation actually engages not just health systems or medical schools, but also companies and individual clinicians in the joy and meaning of humanistic medicine, so that patients and families can be partners in collaborative, compassionate, and scientifically excellent care. So 1933 was when the white coat ceremony started that you all participated in. And prior to that time, often physicians said the Hippocratic Oath at the end of their training as opposed to at the beginning. And so that was a real change that happened. And as you heard in 2002, that's when the Honor Society was created. And it became part of our medical school in 2005. So tonight's Gold Humanism Honor Society medical student inductees were nominated by their medical school class as a peer selection, and they were selected by the current GHHS members of the Vermont chapters as exemplars of the society's principles. They're selected for their demonstration of humanistic clinical care, leadership abilities, and dedication and service in addition to compassion. So I'm pleased now to present to you the members of the class of 2025. The inductees will wear a cord that will be worn with their regalia at graduation. They will get a certificate of induction, and they also get an oath, the GHHS oath. So we will say that at the end. First, we're going to call our 3 virtual inductees, followed by those people who are here in person. And as you've heard, we'll ask everybody to sit in the seats here or behind until everyone's been called. And then we will take a photo and we will actually also recite the oath together. The oath will be in your packets when you get them up here. So you don't have to, no expectation that you memorized it prior to this, so don't worry. All right, so let's get started with our virtual inductees. Perfect. So we want to induct Anupama Balasubramanian. And I think you don't have your cord, but we'll pretend you're putting it on.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations to Corinna Wynn.
Thank you.
And our last virtual inductee is Ashwini Sarathi.
Thank you.
And now for our in-person inductees. So if Dean Page and Dizela, thank you for coming up again. And babies are welcome to come up to the front. We do have a baby as part of our class, if Casey wants to. Football players always do it. They always have their babies with them. Yeah. All right. So Ty Bever. Jack Brait. Max Bridenstine. Charlotte Evans. Michelle Falcone. Callan Gravel Puccillo. Justin Henningsen. Anna Homick. Liz Kelly. Heather Kettlewell. Casey Kruger. Tyler McGuire. Nikki Parsa. Javier Rincon. Faith Robinson. Paige Song. And Jared Stone. We also have one faculty member being inducted this evening. Dr. Heather Burdine is an associate professor of pediatrics at the Larner College of Medicine. Dr. Burdine is being inducted into the Larner GHHS chapter because she was selected by our 2024 class as the 2024 Leonard Tao Humanism in Medicine Faculty Awardee. And this is an award that's sponsored by the Gold Foundation, and it is the highest honor that GHHS bestows upon anyone in our chapter. Congratulations. So before we take our photograph, we're going to do our oath and then we'll take the photograph. So if everybody wants to take a minute to find it, so you've got it on. And I think people on the screen, maybe the video as well. There we go. Okay, we've got everybody. All right, ready? Yeah, okay. I pledge by all that I hold dear as a physician, I will care for my patients with compassion, respect, empathy, integrity, and clinical excellence. I will listen to my patients with my whole being. I will advocate for each patient as a unique individual. I will serve as a role model and mentor to promote humanism in healthcare. I will remember always the healing powers of caring. I will dedicate myself to joining with others to make healthcare optimal for all. Thank you. Let's go. So congratulations to all of you, and we'll take our photo. Come on up.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
So I'd like to invite Dean Zala back to the podium.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Green and Dr. Sandoval, Dr. Wells, Dr. Ramal, Dean Page, and congratulations to all of tonight's inductees. What a wonderful ceremony to honor a great group of students, faculty, and residents. This evening would not have been possible without the dedicated efforts of our of several individuals, but specifically our faculty advisors. So thank you again, Dr. Sandoval, Dr. Green, Dr. Ramal, Dr. Wells, and then a special thank you to Kirsten Tavares, who is our student services coordinator. And Liz Dorman, our learner events manager. Thank you. And also our learner auto-visual expert, Bruce Campbell, and University Event Services Tech Support from Ben Lawrence. Thank you. A special thank you to my dear colleague and our keynote speaker, Dr. Bell, for being part of this special event tonight. And once again, congratulations to all of our medical students honored this evening, and a special thank you to those who have supported you throughout your journey. Again, as Dean Page mentioned, being in medical school is challenging enough, and yet you have all found additional time and energy to engage in leadership, service, research, and advocacy for the benefit of others. We wish you all the best in your future medical residency program and throughout your career. And thank you for joining us this evening, and congratulations again.